Hey, how's everybody? I'm Tomlin's Nyback. This is 365 Days Toward Racial Change, day 319, going in the books. I like that a whole lot. I went into my rant last time um, about Black business owners or successful Black people who want to charge me up, right? I'm barely working a minimum wage job, right? And I know I was a little hard on them. Uh, my position hasn't changed much, but it's something to think about for Black people to move as a team, right? Um, the attitude comes from slavery. We talked a few episodes ago, about the female white philosopher I met talked about how spirits, attitudes can get passed on generationally, right? And I can imagine, like, back on the slave plantation, because I can see it today. The evidence is today, and all I got to do is do my racial archaeology on a situation and say and trace it back, uh, do that reduction and deduction into um, those mid 1500s, the 1600s slavery, and say, yeah, that's where that started. You know, um, the attitude. We'll just talk socioeconomically. I don't want to get too far off topic, right? But the attitude of getting to a space where um, Black person feels a sense of privilege, entitlement, you know, separation, right? In modern times, we talk about the house slave versus the field slave, and some of the tensions and friction that can come from that, right? You definitely wanted to live and be in the big house next to the food resources, um, dressed well, right? Um, you're not doing hard labor. Where out in the field, they're breaking new ground and roots in the ground, and they're with animals, maybe not sleeping as well, um, in lean-tos and shacks and stuff, right? Um, but it's the same today, right? Black person, if they get into their position, space of comfort, I might be guilty of this myself, and you know, look down upon other Black people struggling, trying to get it together. I was in life, I was doing pretty good for a while until I started messing with cocaine. Man, that crack put me in a certain city, and I thought I was so much better than the Black people. I left that city. I left that city worse than your homeless street bum on the street, than anybody that was getting down at that time, right? Yeah, I was in bad shape. It's a humbling, yeah, and I speak about it publicly. I'm not ashamed to talk about that learning experience and necessary to bring me down a bit. Thinking I was so good and had it together on my crack cocaine. Oh, boy, I don't want to learn that experience again. I've taken a new track of humility. And that's what I was saying now about this socioeconomic plan, engagement. We've got to be Gotta be mindful, right? Don't get your doctorate degree, open up your business in a strip mall or or away from uh, black life where you came out of and put up a barrier, put up a white barrier in front of your black brother and sister that's trying to come to you. You know, you got a law degree, a business degree, uh, whatever degree, right? And instead of uh, helping that brother or sister out with your resources, you erect the same white barrier as a privileged man or woman would do um, in the same situation. You're not being a part of black unified socioeconomics if you do that. That person, and I'm an advocate for that person that approaches you because I was that person that approached you and said, "Yeah, man, help me out here. Point me." And you're like, "Oh, I charge $1,200 an hour." I'm like, "Wow, right?" I got white friends. I got a white friend. I let him talk. He's I, he's as a in life you got to put up some friction, and he is my purposeful friction. Talk to him every day, love him to death, and all that. But I put myself in that situation to try to assuage any unnecessary and surprise friction in life. Uh, you got to get into my mind to understand what I'm talking about. But anyway, he talks about like he complains that he makes $30,000 a year. Like that's a complaint for him, right? And I'm like, wow, I don't think I've ever made $30,000 in a year. Anyway, a lot of my fault and stuff, but there's racism out there. But long story short is if you get in position, recognize that, people want to rise up too. And of the other groups that we support, that we admire, from which we take cues that we use as models for us to rise up, they practiced team economics. They don't, for them, it wasn't even a question of, they didn't deliberate or anything. They've always, other groups, especially whites, have always seen where there's an opportunity to help out their kind. That's what they do. That's the right thing. That's what you do. They don't, and this, I've seen this in the workplace when I'm up for a promotion, trying to rise up. Oh boy, it's so easy to let those white counterparts rise up. I got more experience, uh, better equipped, on and on, know how to handle people. Yet, you know, the younger white guy in charge is going to hire like people and raise up like people. Black people, right? We just get it wrong. If you watch some of Dr. Anderson's tapes, videos here, he talks about that phenomenon where black people, like we're so brainwashed in our minds that we become white agents or agents of other for other groups against our own, right? We see white people favoring white people, so when we get in position, we favor white people. Is it, you know what I'm saying? Right? We've been watching the model. Okay, this is how it's done, but we can't make that move to employ those efforts to our own. You know, um, if you're white, I wonder how you feel about that. If you're black, I wonder if it matters to you at all. What that the implications of that. I mean, there are whole semesters on why black people would look at white folks' performance, get in a white position, and continue just to continue on perpetuating that white idea out in the world and not understand it's an opportunity to help and encourage their own group. I'm inspired and sensitized to do this work by a man named Dr. Claud Anderson. You can find him here on YouTube. I've read 3 of his works. These books inform a lot of our discussions here. It's very helpful. Really, it helps snap me out of some serious ignorance about the power of white people and what they are. Oh, how they are just in the land, in control. First book I read was a book called A Black History Reader, 101 Questions You Never Thought to Ask. We're in this, going to finish up our socio-economic discussion today out of that book. Black Labor, White Wealth, Search for Power and Economic Justice, and Dr. Anderson's National Plan to Empower Black America. Powernomics, you can find Dr. Anderson at powernomics.com. Uh, Behind me, see the hashtag #us2 symbol. You'll find black women supporting one another, having their conversation with each other. Also, you can check out Black Enough, BLAGGENUF, kind of a black Facebook experience. Check out Dr. Boyce Watkins at the Black Business School, theblackbusinessschool.com. Also, let's see, look at, if you can't find your flavor, your voice here on the web, do what I did. Start your own. I was going pretty good last year with throwing up at least one a day, but then I went back to school and threw a wrench in a lot of stuff. So now I'm more of a current events type guy. But it's okay. Well, we'll get this project done eventually. Ideally, in an ideal world where I could self-determine, that I could keep a schedule and stuff like white folks, do, then I would have done it in a year, right? But the system doesn't support black self-determination. The system supports white self-determination. Some big differences. Finally, get this book, or an edition of it, Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe, and express that it's fictional account of slave life in America, but it's informed by real events. All right, today, day 319, with our time left here, coming out of a Black History Reader. This is our last day. I'm sure it's not our last day of the topic, but it's the last day we'll focus in on blacks practicing socioeconomic ethno-aggregation as a group and its importance. Hence my rant and rave yesterday and today about black people getting in position and then not being helpful to uh, to help Black people um, progress and obtain some success in America. I could go on a long time, but I'm not. We're just going to move on today. We can take some cues from Asians, Hispanics, whites, Arabs on what ethno-aggregation means, how to vertically integrate. You know what? One thing I hate when I watch these commercials of um, white folks generally going on cruises and stuff, they're always being served by Black men. I mean, that's, you know, being entertained by Black men. There's some Black women in there. Ain't no white folks serving drinks at these places on beaches and in the water and stuff, right? It's always usually Black men in these commercials doing the serving. It's so, oh boy, what a discouragement. It's like, wow, man, you only, well, they go down to the Bahamas, Jamaica, the islands, and I mean that's the labor resources Black folks. But anyway, we can take some cues though from a whole lot of other groups about coming together and engaging in um, socioeconomic unity, ethno-aggregation, vertical integration, right? Um, we're going to talk today just briefly Dr. Anderson's four strategies at the end of this question to uh, get us thinking, right? And this Black unity, what it looks like, what the bureaucracy of it, organization of it, big challenge. I won't. I'm not going to downplay that, but we've got to. I don't know if Black folks want to be competitive. It doesn't happen alone, and it happens as a group. The whites folks have it down to a science. They've been practicing it for hundreds of years in America. They've got it down to a science so much that they've let Black folks off the chain to a degree, and people can we move around with the appearance of freedom, competitiveness, and equality, which that's an illusion compared to the white experience in America. His first strategy: think of yourself, ourselves, as a nation within a nation. We're severed from Africa. Africa was bred out of us. It was uh, not just bred out of us time wise, but you know, white men went into Black women and produced a whole new nation, right? Right. I'm a Black man, but I'm not African dark, right? There's some white influence in here, Native American influence I know of. So anyway, it's a whole new nation inside America. It's America. We are America's only homegrown, unique nation, right? Everybody can kind of say that to a degree, but we were Jews, whites, Hispanics, Native Americans, even. But every group can look back, Russians, Arabs, have a pretty good chance of tracing their lineage back across the Atlantic Ocean. Not so for Black folks. Because of our skin color, we know we got a roughly some type of connection to Africa, but that's about it. Once our first ancestors landed here, the first couple generations, that umbilical cord was cut deliberately. Um, Religion, diet, customs bred out of us. Um, so we're a unique, brand new nation inside America. We need to recognize, experience that. We don't start putting on kente cloth and all the trappings to become so Afrocentric in America. That's a wrong response. That's a wrong response. We're not African Americans, not the Black American, not the one descended from slaves. There's no. Um, I've got no connection to Africa. I have no connection to what tribe I was with. You know, um, you look at take ancestry.com. If you look at the people, the vast majority, yeah, black people benefit from that stuff, use that service. But you look at the white people and the Italians and the Jews that use that service, well, they already have the narrative going on. They know their people came from somewhere in Europe or the Mediterranean and stuff, right? That the story was maintained and perpetuated so that the youngest of that uh, people can ask questions about ancestors and they know um, some European country, right, or space from where they originate. Not so with black people who descend from slaves or who were mixed up, families split up, divided, right? Alex Haley's story is very very unique for his family to maintain the story. My family didn't do that, and most black families descended from slaves did not hold that story as the Haleys did. That's just boy, that's tough to sustain, and I applaud the Haleys and what Alex Haley did with doing that. But he couldn't do that unless his family maintained the stories. The vast majority of black families did not continue their stories. Um, so blacks are a nation within a nation too. Look out, stop being the consumer of other groups, the laborer of other groups. Yeah, I talked yesterday or a couple days ago, two big identities of black people is one being the laborer, two being the consumer. You got white folks taking our resources both ways. We're laboring, just get enough resources to come back the next day, try to double up to make it through Sunday. We're working two jobs, more 6 days a week now. The president says, "Oh, great economy and employment numbers." This is before the coronavirus. It's like, yeah, we got great employment numbers. I'm working 2 and 3 damn jobs to make it. Of course, I'm working. Not only that, we're consumers. We're not making our stuff. We don't own our land, so that the money comes in the front door, goes out the back door, handling our rent, resources, food, blah, blah, and on and on. We need to resist that, start to make some moves on that. Um, Spend with black people. Hence, my rant the past 2 days. Look, black folks, you just have unfair pricing practices. Other groups have been using us for generations, right? Shoot, if I had a business, I would totally be like, yeah, maybe I'd charge this group of people one way, and if I'm really interested in seeing my group succeed and come up, then they get charged something different. And I'd be allowed to do that. I'm the business owner. You call it what you want. I don't care. I'd make it happen some type of way. Um, but so Dr. Anderson and I are in agreement about that. But if you want to be a black business, don't charge me up. You got to work something out. You know what I'm saying? Don't charge me some extravagant, prohibitive white price for your service. Um, I'm not I'm not gonna have a good attitude about that. We can control some enterprises, sports, music, hair, right? Everybody else is controlling it, and we're really hamstrung ourselves, especially in sports. Like the white man came with handfuls full of money. I know it's tough and it's hard, um, but we sold out baseball, basketball, and our football. Starting to see some movement, some other leagues starting to pop up, trying to keep the fire going for um, for the off seasons and stuff like that, looking for new opportunities. But in general, we just got decimated. We gave up our education, gave up sports, gave up entertainment, gave up hair products. It's like I don't know any black people in control of any of those enterprises that black people we either excel in or consume. Black people should be controlling that. And something I've been trying to talk to, I know a couple of episodes back, I talked about money pools, the coronavirus being an opportunity. Trust me, you got white people, other groups are like, wow, this whole economy just flatlined. Listen, if we get together and pool our money, boom, when this thing starts rolling again, you're going to see some movement, right? The whole wealth has been kind of flatlined. It's in this uh, pause, ready to be redistributed. It's going to be interesting to see how things realign financially as we come back online in our economics, right? So we have. I talk about opportunity even when I go outside and when air traffic is down, uh, not a whole lot of traffic. It means that so many people are just waiting for seed money and opportunities and stuff. We can do it if we come together. Wisdom. I know. I wish I had a big chunk of capital and the brains to make it happen. Um, I'm just not in that position, honestly, right now. I don't just want to throw money at something without understanding it and being guaranteed some ROI, return on investment. I do know that much. Uh, so that's going to be the end of part four. Think about some of the things we talked about past few days. Challenge yourself, educate yourself, see where you can be more proactive in what what's important and what's interesting for black folks and do it shamelessly. If you find some groups to do that, now I recognize, right? We're not in some big black national movement like the '60s, and that there may be pockets here and there if you watch this at all, right? I recognize that. But it'd be nice to know that we're moving in a direction towards some critical mass, unified direction in our resources so that we could be competing on a level playing field with other power groups, not only in the nation, but in the world. Hey, thanks for hanging out. I'm over time. I'm Tomlin Snyback. It's day 319 out of the way. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time. I'm a little exhausted right now, so we'll see what our next block of videos is going to be. Stay healthy. Hope you're recovering the virus and economically. We'll see you next time.